and we've a lot to be grateful for. I can't think of a single individual or company represented here that hasn't benefited from this amazing explosion in creativity and hive mind innovation. It's not new news for sure, but it's certainly context that we at E3D are constantly aware of and grateful for. We're all standing on the shoulders of giants right now. The Wi-Fi was really bad here, so I could only get cultural references to giants, but I hope people get it. That hive mind is limited only by our imagination, but as touched on the talk earlier today by our friend Dan at Slice, the actualization of innovation is actually becoming increasingly limited by intellectual property. Not much explanation is needed on this chart, and I promise it is the only bar chart in the talk today. But as I'm talking anyway, I'll give you a short summary of what it shows us and what it can mean. Since some key patents expired over 10 years ago, we all got really excited and creative in the world of 3D printing. This growth in creativity and consequently 3D printing, consequently progress in 3D printing, began to split into a couple of paths: open source and protected IP. Those paths are not always straight, as we know, and not clear-cut. They wind, they intermingle, and their borders can become blurred. True open source designs and creativity always does have its bounds, at least commercially. And as more and more patents get through to granted status, we will and are beginning to see these limitations take effect. I've made up the term free creative space, but I think you will kind of understand what I mean here. Back 10, 15 years ago, there were a few hundred patents being filed in the 3D printing space. As you can see, that's exploded exponentially, and this year we're looking at somewhere between 35,000 and 40,000 patents being filed, with some reference to 3D printing. And this covers all types of additive manufacturing too. So as you can see, 15 years ago there were a few patents, hundreds of patents being filed across all genres of additive manufacturing, not just FDM. So that creative space that we're all working in as a business can become quite challenging. And where does E3D fit into this spectrum? We released V6 in 2014 under a Creative Commons license. It was a deliberate move to enable the industry to grow and great quality printing to be standard rather than by exception. The strategy was successful, to say the least. More than 1 million E3D V6 hot ends are now out there in the wild today, and we've shipped to nearly every country in the world, from Iceland to the Andaman Islands. We even have a reseller in Hawaii, and if you're watching, I'm really, really happy to come and visit you anytime. Clones, of course, became endemic, with varying levels of quality control. And they have improved, to be fair, over the years. But for all of us, not just E3D, this was a success. Soon hobbyists on Reddit were sharing their ways to improve hot ends and improve extrusion, upgrading to trusted E3D V6, braver us, or one of its many family members. Just a reminder of what those family members are, because I've been with E3D since 2015. The first thing I did in the first 4 weeks was launch this Line 6. We also have the Cyclops, the Chimera, Cyclops Aqua, Chimera Aqua, and Plus. We have the Titan, the iterations of that. Bear in mind, all of these are part of the E3D V6 system. The Titan Aero, the Titan Aqua. I actually can't see my screen anymore. We launched the Volcano, a high-flow version of the V6, and again, still compatible. The Super Volcano, which the designer is sat here in front of me, and I think I'm correct in saying that it's 90 millimeters cubed per second output, which is absolutely insane and still faster and a higher flow rate than anything out there in standard FDM. It's also quite a beast. and not forgetting Hemera, which is a kind of, I like to call it a gateway drug into the Revo system, because it's the Revo brake that was different between the V6 system and Hemera, and it's the Hemera brake that the Revo ecosystem was also based around. I've totally gone off topic, I don't remember where I am in my talk. Thank you. Okay, as the V6 ecosystem became the industry standard, we were busy innovating behind the scenes. It's fair to say that releasing a product at the scale that E3D is now is far more complex than back in the old days, and I know that we've probably said this in most talks because we always feel like we need to apologise. Back in the old days, we would make a dozen or so prototypes, test them, approve, and a launch can involve only a few hundred units being manufactured. We're not the only ones in the 3D printing world facing this challenge of scale. As a relatively new industry, we're all new at what we're doing. Many of us companies are learning how to scale and scale fast, whilst being affected by a global pandemic, a global supply chain crisis, and something to do with silicon, which I really don't want to think about. I'm really proud to say that this summer, after a lot of hard graft, E3D is being granted ISO 9001 status, the global standard for quality management systems. Thank you to Ken. It's a really, really long way from our informal beginnings, for sure. No more chicken sheds. Or at least if we do have a chicken shed, it's going to have some amazing procedures in place. We're all set up for the next stage of our growth and the next steps in E3D's mission. So the future. What does the future look like? I'd love to say it's spaceships and cyborg badgers and all that fun stuff, but in the interest of time, we'll focus on E3D's future plans. So, how to enable everyone to benefit from great innovation whilst protecting the bottom line. Again, it's not just an E3D problem, it's for us all to solve. If any one company closes down their products too much, it can result in branching off of ecosystems, and in the worst cases, actually prohibiting progress. It's something that we're critically aware of at E3D. When we announced our updated IP policy 12 months ago, it did raise a few eyebrows, but in general I know that we got the most amazing support from everybody and so much understanding, and we're very grateful for that. I'm proud of how we've held true to the promise of being usefully open wherever possible. So, some examples of how we're handling IP in this brave new world. E3D is not an island, although we did start off by living on one. Although we've protected the Revo ecosystem, we are by no means trying to isolate ourselves from the rest of the 3D printing world. In fact, we are proactively seeking collaborations, which many may have previously assumed to be improbable, if not impossible. This is something we've always wanted to do, and now with the Revo system where we can control the quality in the supply chain, we have this chance to do so. Our recent Revo collaboration with BQ, with their H2 Revo, was quite a surprise to many and I hope a pleasant one. And today we're also announcing a collaboration with MicroSwiss. Again, a company that most would have seen it as a direct competitor of ours, but integration and collaboration and spreading a consistent ecosystem, reliable ecosystem across the 3D printing hemisphere is really important to us. If you're at the event, please check out the MicroSwiss NG extruder with the Revo hot sliders on their stand, and I think that we've also got one on the E3D booth right now. Yeah, we have. LDO are now producing their own Revo Voron heat sinks in line with our open cold side policy for Revo, and their Voron kits will be shipping with Revo systems really soon. There's some more exciting collaborations which I can't talk about, but all have the goal possible to enable more and better printing. This policy of open collaboration with great partners around the market means that although we've protected our bottom line with proactive IP filing, we're also doing our very best to enable industry-wide adoption of new, user-friendly, accessible ways to interact with our printers, and ultimately enabling incremental changes in how humanity manufactures goods. How we interact with our tools in order to create that original definition of manufacturing. It's really quite exciting, and we're grateful for the partners and collaborators joining us on this journey. Now that I've mentioned collaborators, it seems like a good time to me to introduce the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation mission, because collaborators and collaboration are going to be the key to its success. Slides. Okay, they've caught up with me. The Sanjay Mortimer Foundation, or the SMF, is a global non-profit initiative to find and assist those with neurodivergent minds to realise their potential through engineering and making. Its purpose is to discover and unlock the potential of tomorrow's brilliant engineers. Why are we doing it? To continue Sanjay's legacy. He was a passionate, neurodivergent thinker, diagnosed with ADHD only relatively recently. His passion in life, other than hot ends, was education. He recognised a clear gap in the modern education system where engineering doesn't just play second fiddle to mainstream subjects, it's often all but ignored. He had a long-held belief, which was the driving force in his life, that engineering should become a core part of the curriculum once again. He's not here to share this message, and so we're going to do it on his behalf. How are we going to do it? Firstly, we will share that mission globally. We'll build partners and collaborators to help us spread and then realise our mission. And that will provide access to SMF support in the form of cash, resources, training, mentoring, and even placements within partners within the 3D printing industry and the wider engineering market. This is the bit of the talk that actually got corrupt and got deleted about an hour ago, so I'm just going to add a link now. But this is a call to arms. We are really, really keen on finding collaborators that would like to support maybe those who already have experience of neurodivergent minds and the different paths to education that those people may take. We already have two fantastic collaborators, partners, one of which is the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. They have the 7th ever Fab Lab there. It's run by a wonderful guy called Dan Meyer and the Wanger family. My team's laughing, I can't imagine why. But they're going to be helping us develop a global network of education systems that are reliable, repeatable. They've already got it, and they have already been trying and testing it with great success within the Museum of Science and Industry, and they're very kindly going to lend us that MakeX system for part of the Sanjay Mortimer Foundation. We're also, at the moment, onboarding with Google as a Google charity. So Google employees, if they want to support us, which is something that Google really tends to encourage them to do, Google will be match funding all of the funds that we raise in the future. Just give me a moment because my talk just deleted itself.
Who is live?
Well. So through the network that we plan to build, we aim to support those neurodiverse and talented individuals in a systemised and practical way. If you'd like to join us, please do. We're currently setting up a website and our own email addresses. We have the trustees now in place and the charitable organisation that's in progress. We've raised over £80,000 so far to date with the help of a large amount of people right here, right now actually, and I want to thank you all. If you want to get involved in any way as a trustee, perhaps in the future a partner, collaborator, fundraiser, whatever you would like to do, please email us at smf@e3d-online.com. So, you'll have noticed I haven't talked about plasma flow resonance once in this talk. That's because I'm not Sanjay and I'm not even going to try to pretend to be. We do have some unicorn level obsidians on the stand for anyone that's here today. 12 months after Sanjay proudly announced them to the world. I'm so happy he got the opportunity to do that, even if we did have to deal with the 12-month delay afterwards. If you're here, please come along and we'll be delighted to show you what the fuss is all about. It's certainly been a wild ride developing what I suspect is the most long-awaited nozzle in history. Whilst I'm not Sanjay, I know that he would like to have the final word. He was a man of many words, and he had many favourite sayings. I'd like to share two of them with you now. The first was this: they say you die twice. Once when the final breath passes your lips, and again when your name is said for the last time. With your help and through the foundation, we hope to make sure Sanjay lives on for many years to come. The second saying, and the final words for this afternoon, was this: I bloody love hot ends.
Woo! Yeah, boy!
I don't think I'm going to do Q&A because I'm